Again, coming back to paper 2 questions, we have this question which shows two structures of the human digestive system. And now they are asking you to identify the type of tooth shown in the diagram. So, here, we're being asked to identify a specific type of tooth based on its shape. As you can see in the diagram, it shows a broad, flat surface with cusps for grinding. That indicates it's a molar or possibly a premolar tooth, but writing molar is better. If it had a sharp edge, it would be an incisor or canine, but having a grinding surfaces mean it's a molar. So we will simply write molar. In the next part, they require you to name the outer layer of the tooth. And this question is straightforward. It's asking for the outermost layer that protects the tooth from wear, acid, and decay. Which we know that hard, protective covering is known as enamel. So we will write enamel here. In the third part, they want you to explain how the tooth and the salivary gland contribute to digestion in different ways. And here, we need to compare mechanical and chemical digestion. The tooth performs mechanical digestion by breaking food into smaller pieces, while the salivary gland starts chemical digestion by releasing enzymes. We'll describe both roles clearly and separately. So, we'll write, the tooth helps in mechanical digestion by chewing and breaking food into smaller pieces, which increases the surface area for enzymes to act on. The salivary gland contributes to chemical digestion by secreting saliva containing amylase, which breaks down starch into maltose. Then next, you have to name two substances produced by the stomach wall and explain how they are involved in digestion. So, here we need to name two key secretions of the stomach, hydrochloric acid and pepsin, and then explain how each helps digestion. HCl creates the acidic environment needed for enzymes to function, while pepsin digests proteins. So, we'll write here that the stomach wall produces hydrochloric acid, which provides the optimum acidic pH for enzymes to work and kills bacteria. It also produces pepsin, a protease enzyme that breaks down proteins into smaller peptides or amino acids. Now, they say, some gastrin is produced in the duodenum, and they want you to state how this gastrin reaches the stomach. Since gastrin is a hormone, it's carried through the circulatory system, not through a duct-like enzymes. So, the correct pathway is via the bloodstream. So, we will write, it travels in the blood to the stomach. We have a question here now, and it's an MCQ. The question says, a deficiency disease in children causes soft and deformed bones. What is the name and cause of this deficiency disease? This question is testing your knowledge of nutritional deficiencies. Soft and deformed bones in children are caused by a lack of vitamin D, which is needed for calcium absorption. The condition is called rickets. And the answer for this is A. Rickets, caused by a lack of vitamin D and calcium. On to the next question, another MCQ. The diagram shows the human digestive system labeled 1, 2, and 3. Where do digestion and ingestion occur? Ingestion happens when food enters the mouth. That's the starting point of digestion. Digestion is when undigested material leaves the body through the anus. So if 1 is the mouth and 3 is the anus, digestion occurs at 3, ingestion at 1. And the answer for this is C. Digestion occurs at 3, and ingestion occurs at 1. Now moving on to the next question. This one again is an MCQ. What are the correct definitions of digestion and assimilation? The options talk about different processes like the intake of food, its breakdown, and how it's used by the body. Digestion means breaking down large, insoluble food molecules into smaller, soluble ones. That's statement 2. Assimilation means using those food molecules inside cells. That's statement 3. And the answer for this is B. Digestion is the breakdown of large insoluble molecules into small soluble ones, and assimilation is the uptake and use of food molecules in cells. Alright, on to the next one. It's also an MCQ. Which organ produces an acid that kills the bacteria in ingested food? The only organ that produces an acid is the stomach, which secretes hydrochloric acid. This acid helps digestion and destroys harmful bacteria. And the answer for this is D. Stomach. Now let's move to the next question, another MCQ. The table shows the rates of absorption of two sugars, arabinos and glucose, in living and dead intestines. Here we compare living and dead intestines. If a sugar absorbs at the same rate in both, it means no energy is needed. That's diffusion. If the rate drops in the dead tissue, it needs energy, so it's active transport. Since glucose absorption drops sharply but arabinose stays the same, glucose uses active transport, arabinose uses diffusion. And the answer for this is C. Arabinose is absorbed by diffusion, and glucose is absorbed by active transport. We are back to our theory questions now. The question asks us to explain how the nutrition provided by the snack bar is suitable for a person training for a sporting event. Now, this question is about the nutritional value of a snack bar. To answer this, we look at the nutrients listed on its label and explain how each one supports athletic training. The bar provides 30 grams of sugars, which supply quick energy, 10 grams of protein, which supports muscle growth and repair, and iron, which is essential for hemoglobin and oxygen transport. Each of these nutrients helps during physical activity by giving energy and aiding recovery. And the answer for this is, the snack bar contains protein, which helps to build and repair muscles. It also provides iron, which is needed for hemoglobin in red blood cells to transport oxygen. The sugars and fats provide energy for respiration, which supports enhanced performance of muscles during training. On to the next question. Calculate how many grams of dietary fiber are required in the diet to obtain 100% of the recommended daily value. Here, we need to do a simple calculation. The label says that 3 grams of fiber represent 12% of the daily recommended intake. To find 100%, we multiply 100 by 3 and divide by 12. That gives 25. So, the complete daily recommended fiber intake is 25 grams. Now moving to the next question, another theory question. Describe what happens to protein in the digestive system. In this part, we describe how proteins are digested and where it happens. The enzymes involved include pepsin in the stomach and trypsin in the small intestine. The process starts with proteins being broken down into smaller peptides, and then further into amino acids. These amino acids are absorbed into the bloodstream and used by the body for growth and repair. And the answer for this is, protein digestion begins in the stomach, where the enzyme pepsin breaks proteins into smaller peptides. In the duodenum and small intestine, trypsin continues the digestion, breaking peptides into amino acids. These amino acids are then absorbed through the small intestine walls into the blood to be used by the body. Next, describe physical digestion in humans and explain its importance. Here, we're talking about physical or mechanical digestion, that means breaking food into smaller pieces without changing its chemical structure. The organs involved are mainly the teeth and the stomach. The teeth chew and grind food in the mouth, while the stomach churns it. The purpose of this is to increase the surface area of food so digestive enzymes can work more efficiently during chemical digestion. And the answer for this is, physical digestion involves breaking food into smaller pieces without changing its chemical composition. It starts in the mouth where teeth chew and grind food, and continues in the stomach through churning. This process increases the surface area of food, allowing digestive enzymes to act more efficiently during chemical digestion. On to the next question, another short theory 1. State the name of the chemical present in the stomach that kills many ingested bacteria. We just need to name the chemical in the stomach that destroys bacteria, and that is hydrochloric acid. And the answer for this is hydrochloric acid. Now let's move to the next question. It says, bacteria that are not killed in the stomach may cause disease. State the term used to describe organisms that cause disease, and the type of immunity gained after infection by organisms that cause disease. Here we can identify two things. First, the organisms that cause disease are called pathogens. Second, the immunity developed after infection is called active immunity because the body produces its own antibodies. We have a question here now. It's an MCQ. Which disease can be the result of a dietary deficiency of both a mineral ion and a vitamin? We're asked about a disease caused by lack of both a mineral and a vitamin. Rickets is caused by a deficiency of vitamin D and calcium, which affects bone strength and growth. And the answer for this is C. Rickets. On to the next question, another MCQ. A student states, the contraction of circular muscles pushes the contents forward. Which process is being described? This statement describes the muscular movement of the gut wall that pushes food along the digestive tract. That process is peristalsis, not to be confused with transpiration or demination. And the answer for this is A. Peristalsis. Now moving to the next question, also an MCQ. An investigation is carried out on digestion and absorption in the alimentary canal. The diagram shows starch and amylase inside biscuit tubing in warm water. After 1 hour, the water outside is tested with Benedict's and iodine solutions. Which colors are obtained? In this experiment, amylase breaks down starch into glucose, which diffuses through the biscuit tubing. The Benedict's test detects glucose and turns red. The iodine test outside stays yellow-brown, showing no starch present. And the answer for this is D. Red with Benedict's and yellow-brown with iodine. We have another MCQ now. Some nutrients in sweet potatoes are listed. 1 calcium, 2 fiber, 3 iron, 4 vitamin C. Which nutrient helps to prevent each disease? So, we match nutrients to the diseases. Iron prevents anemia, calcium prevents rickets, and vitamin C prevents scurvy. And the answer for this is A3, 1, 4. 4 of the organs of the alimentary canal are listed. J colon, K duodenum, L esophagus, M stomach. Which sequence shows the order in which food passes through these organs? So, food moves through the digestive system in this order, esophagus to stomach to duodenum to colon, which matches option C perfectly. So, C is the correct answer here. Now the next question, another MCQ. A person with celiac disease has flattened villi in the ileum. They have lower glucose levels in the hepatic portal vein than a healthy person. Which row explains this? So, with flattened villi, the surface area is reduced, so absorption of glucose becomes less efficient. Capillaries can still absorb glucose, but fewer molecules reach them. And the answer for this is C. Capillaries do not fail to absorb glucose, but the surface area of the ileum is reduced. Next they say, explain what is meant by a balanced diet and outline its components. So, we'll start by defining a balanced diet. It means having the right proportions of all the nutrients your body needs to stay healthy. Then we list the main components, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, which provide energy and support growth, vitamins and minerals, which keep the body's functions working properly, and fiber, which helps with digestion. The key phrase to remember here is, in the correct quantities. And the answer for this is, a balanced diet means eating all the necessary food types in the correct quantities to maintain health. It includes carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for energy and growth, as well as vitamins and minerals to support body functions. Fiber is also important for digestion. On to the next question, it asks us to discuss the effects on health of being underweight and of being overweight. Here we describe the health effects of both extremes, underweight and overweight. For underweight, we mention lack of nutrients, tiredness, weak immunity, and diseases like kwashiorkor. For overweight, we talk about extra strain on joints, risk of heart disease, strokes, and type 2 diabetes due to fat buildup and poor blood sugar control. And the answer for this is, being underweight can lead to tiredness and a lack of energy due to not getting enough nutrients. It can also weaken the immune system, increase the risk of infections, and cause conditions like kwashiorkor. A person may also experience hair thinning or bone problems due to nutrient deficiencies. Being overweight puts extra pressure on the body, especially on joints, which can cause joint or skeletal issues. It also increases the risk of coronary heart disease, strokes, and type 2 diabetes due to fat buildup in arteries and poor regulation of blood sugar.